Hello and welcome to our video on adding inventory items. You can see we're logged in here, and over on the left side you can see we've navigated down in the inventory section and we've gone to inventory items. You can see we've already got a few inventory items already added. To kind of give you a little bit of a background on this demo site we've got here is we are pretending that we have a tire shop. So we've already got a couple different tires and some valve stems. And so in this video we're just going to go and show how to add an inventory item. To do that, we're just going to come over here to create new item, and that's going to pop up the add new inventory item screen. And we've got a couple of fields here. We've got name, short description, parent and child items, categories, bin, location, low inventory reminder, and measure unit. And so let's go through each of these really quickly. Name is just going to be the part number or the part ID that you're going to want to describe this. So if you've got a SKU from the manufacturer, if I say, okay, this is I'm making this up. I don't know the tire SKU numbers. But let's say I say this is 859, whatever those numbers are. And I say that this is a 37-inch BFG AT. So I'm going to say that's my 37-inch BFG all-terrain tire. I've got a place where I can add a longer description as well. Parent and child items we're going to cover in another video. But let's look at category. So category, if I expand this, you can see that I've already got a few different categories. So a category is a way to kind of slice up the different types of inventory that you have. And so with if we look at what I've got here, we have brake pads, tires, valve stems. So obviously I can have a lot of different kind of brake pads. I can have a lot of different kind of tires. I may have different valve stems that go to different kinds of tires. And this is a way to be able to kind of group these together, especially when you're doing like an inventory analysis report, and you want to say, hey, how much have I bought in this particular category? How many tires have I bought? How many brake pads have I bought? Since the beginning of the year, what's been my cost of brake pads on average. So with that category, you're able to kind of define that and kind of break up these different parts into meaningful groups. And with this item, which we've set as a tire, we're going to go ahead and select tire as our category. Now there's a few ways to add that category. If we come over here, you can see we've got measurement units, item categories, inventory items, and inventory suppliers. Each of these can be added over here, or they can actually be added right here in line. So if I wanted to have a new category, I could actually just come down here to add new, and I could say, set shocks. And with that, now I've got the new category shocks. And that same thing applies when we get down to measure unit. We'll talk about that in a moment. But just know that you can add those items right there, right in line. So bin and location are just a way to be able to track and identify where your inventory is. If you've got different ways of managing that, these are just some additional fields you can store that into. The low inventory reminder field, this is the value or the quantity at which you want to be notified that you have hit that point. So if you said, okay, I don't want to have any less than 20 of these tires on hand, if the quantity of this goes below 20, I'm going to get an email message saying that this inventory is low. I'm also going to see a alert up here when I log in pop up and notify me that I've got a low inventory. And now let's come down to our measure unit. And so our measure unit is basically the unit of measure. So in here you can see I've got a box, an each, and a pair. So this is how you can help your employees to understand what you're expecting them to count. So the whole idea of keeping track of this inventory and even putting this in is that the idea is that you want to know how much inventory you're using. And so whether that's your guys that are clocking in on their phones and they're saying, hey, I installed 4 tires, or whether that's, you've got a list of jobs and you're going through and processing those and you're entering that in, The one way or the other, you're trying to capture this cost and how many items, inventory items, you've gone through. And so it's really important that everybody understands and everybody's on the same page as far as what does one inventory item mean. Because, if I say one tire, well, that makes sense, right? Most likely I'm buying tires as one, I'm selling tires as, one. I'm selling 4 tires and I'm counting each one individually. But what about gloves? Gloves can come in one glove, or they may come in a pair, or they may come in a great big box. And so you want to make sure that you define what that unit of measure is, what you're considering that unit of measure, so that when the guy pulls it up on his phone and it says, hey, how many of these valve stems did you do? They know that, there's 4 valve stems, so I used one package of 4 valve stems, or maybe I used 4 single valve stems. And so that's what this unit of measure. And so in this particular job, or this particular item that we are saying is a tire, we're going to say each. And so with that, I'm going to go ahead and save that. And with that, we have now added an inventory item. And you saw how simple that was to very quickly and easily add these into your system so that you can begin to track those things.